Yo guys, what's up? It's Inflexxius. Today we're playing Jackson to Malphite top. The matchup is Malphite favored, but 1v1, it's not so bad. But the moment the enemy jungler comes into play, then it becomes really awkward really quickly. So Malphite's level 1, Talon's level 1, both are garbage. So we can abuse that to be able to just get a free trade on Malphite without them being able to do anything. Malphite's early levels and pre-first back is really bad, right? So what we want to do is just kind of abuse that. So take every trade you can whenever your E is up. And you basically want to be doing that the whole laning phase, is trading with him whenever your E is up. You guys will notice that I took Phase Rush. I'm testing it out to see how it feels. But if you guys want a more standard rune page, then you guys can run this. This is what I'd run this game if I wasn't running Phase Rush. Alacrity, because they don't have that much CC, and Unflinching will handle whatever CC they have. So right now we're just trying to get a slow push in, trying to get the crash in. We're going Corrupting Potion. We go Corrupting Potion in both setups because you don't want to be staying in lane versus Malphite for long enough that D-Shield is super good. And the Corrupting Potion allows us to run Unflinching, which helps us versus Malphite's Q slows. And also, the burn from the Corrupting Potion turns Malphite's passive off a little bit longer than it otherwise would, right? So now that we've gotten the crash, the wave is now pushing back to us. We have an item lead, and we have a minor resource lead. So now we're going to try to utilize that to force a freeze on the Malphite, trade Malphite down, force a freeze on him, and get him to back from the lane, basically, right? Try to force him from the lane. So there we got a good trade on him, a good E-trade. The game plan here is to try to force a freeze so that he has to blow his TP. Force him out of lane, force a freeze, and then blow his TP, basically, right? Here we can go for an extended trade because Malphite doesn't have his W, right? He used it to push minions, so we got to then jump on him and just mess him up. Here we can just jump on him again. He's very low in health at this point. And now he's successfully done. We forced him out of lane. Now he has to recall and TP back, or because if he doesn't TP back, he's going to lose a lot more minions, right? So now the wave is going to crash into us here. We can trade with him here because we have our TP and because we still have our TP up, basically. We can recall and TP back whenever we need to. Go for the extended trade here while our E is up. Bonk him with the W. Now, we probably want to reset here, except it looks like Malphite backed. So because he backed, we can just level up here, get our levels, and use our ultimate to shove the wave as quickly as possible. So there's two kinds of Malphites, sorry, that you'll find in your solo queue adventures. There's the Arcane Comet Malphite that'll max Q, and the W max Malphite that'll go Grasp, right? Grasp Malphites will usually max W in any case. So although this one maxes E. So this is a Grasp Malphite we're playing versus. The Arcane Comet Malphite is harder to play versus for Jax, but it's still manageable. Basically, you have to trade differently depending on which Malphite you're playing versus, right? If you're up against a Grasp Malphite, you don't want to extend the trade after your E wears off, right? You want to jump on them as often as you can with your E up. And then when the E stuns them, you want to walk away so that they can't hit you back with their W. The Arcane Comet Malphites, though, what you want to do is you want to jump on them, and because they're maxing Q, their poke is very good, but their fight power is very weak. So you want to extend the trade as much as you can, even after your stun lands. Because your lethal tempo will allow you to win that trade. Now, we see a fight going on here in the jungle, so we move over here to help. Unfortunately, Malphite does peel us here. I decided to fight him out to see how it plays. I decided, you know what, we're probably not winning this, so I'm just gonna dip from here. Malphite flashes, we flash away. And we see Malphite back in vision, so we wait outside of vision until he finishes his back, so that we can then shove the wave, and then recall ourselves, because he thought we recalled, right? But basically, the main way you want to play versus Malphite is you don't really want to stay in lane versus Malphite for too long, right? You want to maintain lane prio Quick gank here, by the way, from the Belveth. Malphite being impossible to gank when his ult is up, but being a free kill whenever his ult is on cooldown. But like I was saying, you want to be able to maintain constant wave prior versus Malphite, because you want to be able to slow push and force a crash versus Malphite whenever you want, right? Because an Arcane Comet Malphite's just going to keep throwing Qs at you, right? Eventually you're going to run out of health. So you need to make sure that you can get a back off before you run out of health by shoving the wave. So you basically can never freeze versus Malphite, but as long as you keep slow pushes going and keep wave prio going, and you keep maintaining wave prio, you can keep shoving waves into the Malphite and before you run out of health, and that's what the Corrupting Potion is for, by the way, to help maintain health from those 200 damage Qs. It helps you heal up from those 200 damage Qs Malphite's going to be throwing at you, if he's Arcane Comet, right? Now, if he's Grass Malphite, it's a little bit easier, because he can't throw those 200 damage Qs at you, right? But if the trades don't go your way, like if the trades go even, then it does get kind of awkward, because the Malphite can burst you with his ultimate. So here we run down to assist the dragon. We have Divine Sunder, right? We're ready to fight. We have our item. And I go down here I go down straight to dragon, because I didn't want Malphite to go down to dragon while I went top lane, right? Because that would be a disaster, right? Then the enemy team would win a team fight at dragon probably, and then then we're liable to lose the game of that. But right now we have our Divine Sunder, right? After you get Divine Sunder versus Malphite, you can really start messing him up, just playing around the Divine Sunder trades, right? Look at that damage. See, I Q onto him, auto-attack him with the Divine Sunder proc, and then I don't use my W until my Divine Sunder comes back up. Here our E just comes back up and we can just finish him off. But yeah, basically like I was saying, you want to be constantly in a position to crash the wave into Malphite's tower if you ever drop low enough that you need to, right? And that's why it's really hard, the matchup becomes really hard, if the enemy jungler decides to visit you and apply pressure to your lane, because then it's going to be really hard to maintain lane prio, because you know, Malphite's gank assist is so good with his ultimate, and so you have to stay really far back, and then obviously you can't maintain lane prio, and then basically you just have to sack minions. Otherwise you're, like, you know, just gonna be tanking harass.
Your team has destroyed a turret.
But it's really hard to kill Malphite, so you shouldn't expect to get too many kills on him unless he messes up, like, very frequently. Unless he messes up very badly. So here I really want that tower, right? So I'm just going to freaking go for it at this point. Now, pushing through the attack speed slow, and now we can fight him, right? We have our Divine Sunderer, we can fight him. Look at that burst. Jump on his head here with the counter strike. Forces flash, really good stuff. Now we can shove this wave here. And shove one more wave here. And then we can recall. Here we start working towards our Black Cleaver, because it gives really nice stats for Jax, and also the Armor Shred passive is really nice into Malphite, and we really want to be able to beat Malphite in the side lane, because if we can't, it's going to make the game a lot harder than it needs to be. So here we jump onto the Malzahar. He flashes, we flash after him, but the stun wears off at the same time, and it's a disaster, so we run, we disengage, right? But then Belveth shows up, so we can re-engage again. Notice how I'm making sure that that Malzahar is always within my E range while my stun is active, so that if he ults me, my E will go off and his ultimate will get cancelled. That's what you want to do versus Malzahar. You always want to make sure that he's within your E range, so that his ult will get cancelled if he decides to ult you. Here I'd like to back, but I don't have enough for my Black Cleaver, so I'm instead just going to go get some Honey Fruit and then clear waves and get gold until the next back opening shows itself, right? Which will be after I clear this wave, clear this pink, get these Krugs, and now I can recall, because bot wave is now pushed out, everything is set, and now I can recall and get my Black Cleaver, and start working towards my Sterax. Unfortunately, our mid and bot lane do just get caught in mid lane and die, so I decide I want to go bot lane here to catch the wave, but Belveth decides she wants a two-man Baron here, which, you know what, I'm on board for. Belveth shreds Baron, right? Talon shows up, I should honestly just leap onto the Janna here, or ult to get armor to not get one-shot by the Talon. I do neither, and so I am punished. And Talon just obliterates me there. Malzahar ults our Aphelios, but ends up going down. Malphite tries to run, but Bel'Veth and Aphelios proceed to run him down as well. So the good news is that we win that fight. We continue towards our... Yeah, Malphite goes down here. We continue towards our Sterak's. We're going Sterak's because we want the survivability versus Malphite, Yasuo combo, Talon Burst, and Malzahar ult, right? So I TP in here. Bel'Veth ends up not needing me. She ends up just not needing me at all. But, you know what? I'm still fine with that TP because we get so much, right? Like, I'm perfectly fine TPing in spots where they might not need me if the reward we get for winning whatever I'm TPing to is so big that it's worth it anyway, right? Like, we get 2 towers and we get the soul there, like, it's just so worth it. So, Malphite TP's in, ults our Lux. I go focus the Malphite, but Talon comes in from behind, one-shots our Aphelios. I managed to get to him with Phase Rush. I Q and then flash, which cancels my Q, which is really unfortunate. I always get so tilted when that happens. Now here I'm feeling really strong, so I'm just like going in and limit testing a bit here, but honestly this is bad by me. I was feeling a bit stronger than I actually was. Luckily we have a Janna, so we can disengage for free. We don't get punished. So we just go down here, get this Gromp, and we just keep still pushing bot. I see the Yasuo, I want to go for him, right? But he blue orbs the bush, so he sees me coming. So I now need to... I'm just going to keep applying pressure here, honestly. If they want to hold me, Yasuo Yuumi wants to hold me, then that's fine, because then 2 are holding me, right? We have a numbers advantage on the rest of the map, right? My team managed to get 2 people, and Yasuo decides, you know what? He doesn't want to die, he's just going to let the Nexus go. And yeah, that's that. Well, hope you guys enjoyed the video, and hope to see you in the next one.